In one of my last videos, I showed you this rig, which I built especially for Galaxies. It's something mid-budget, nothing spectacular. It's a kind of rig everybody can put together and it's easy to use. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I put a link in the description below. Now, since this video, I was really lucky. It's beautiful weather here in Switzerland at the moment, lots of clear skies, and I used this rig night after night after night. And I was simply amazed how reliable and also how easy it was. I just switch it on, choose my target, and let it shoot over the night. There's really nothing more to do. Which brings me to the second half of the job, the processing. And to fit this rig, the processing part should be as easy, as reliable, and as efficient as shooting with the rig. And that's exactly what I want to show you today in this video. And I actually have proof that it works, because in the same reliable way as I shot every night a new target, in the same way every day, I applied the same process in PixInsight and got really good results, which you can watch on AstroBin or Instagram. For this tutorial now, we will choose M81 Boats Galaxy. Let's go now to my computer and PixInsight, and I will show you everything. Okay, welcome to my computer, and let's start here with AstroBin. So I think you see here the cliche winter objects, where anyway the weather was horrible, and now here we start with the galaxies. Sombrero Galaxy, Owl Nebula, Boats Galaxy, Sigurd Galaxy, M100, and so on and so on. So it's a huge stretch I did within the last about 2 weeks. And I processed them all practically the same. Rinse and repeat. Shoot overnight, process over the day. And so I could take any of them, but we will look today at both Galaxy. And so what's important, what we will really want to have a focus on is colorful, nice stars and a nice color also within the galaxy, nicely stretched. And even for galaxies, we do not need 20, 30, 40 hours of integration time. We should have a rather smooth background. So let's go now in PixInsight and try to recreate this image. So that's the fits file right from stacking. I stack with AstroPixel processor, but you could also have stacked it with PixInsight. You see the interesting aspect ratio of the picture. That's when you shoot with a 585 sensor. It's more like a 16:9 or something like that. And when we actually do the auto stretch, you see the nice green hue, which you usually have. So that's the first thing we're gonna remove. We go to process, screen transfer function. We unchain it here and click the nuclear sign again, and this issue is solved. Next thing, we need to crop it. If you use PixInsight for stacking, then you might have auto crop in. You might not have to do that, but I have to. So I go to dynamic crop, click the reset button, move it a little bit to the side and up. Then I can nicely move this together. And now we can actually get it to the right size. I wouldn't make it too big because really we want to focus on the galaxy. We don't need all the stuff around it. So we will lose here our solution when we do that. That's unfortunate, but we can get it back. And by the way, just as a little fun fact, I shoot these pictures without any flats. Because when you have a tiny sensor and you even use only the inner part of the sensor, there is no vignetting. And if you do not use any filters, there can also not be any, dust bunnies on the filters. So there's no reason for flats, quite honestly. So the next thing we're doing, we have to get rid of the gradient. It was quite a moonless night. There's not much gradient, but there is. So we go process, gradient correction. I just read a comment recently, I think on Facebook, where somebody said, well, with multi-scale gradient correction, it works nice if it works. And quite honestly, I cannot, every time, try it out, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. So I don't use it at all. I use the gradient correction, which works nicely, and that's good enough. For an easy gradient like that, I choose automatic conversions, generate gradient model. I choose a simplified model by the degree of 1, as we have it here brighter than here, so that should be okay. I even went with the smoothness a little bit up, and that's it. I just throw it on there, and again, that will be good enough. Okay, let's look for a moment what it has done, and you see it has nicely removed the gradient from bright to dark, and that looks now even Steven. So that's fine. The next thing we're doing, if you had to crop, then we have lost our solution, so we get the solution back. Script, SETI Astro, Blind Solver 2000. So we have to enter nothing at all, we don't have to care, just press Start Plate Solve. Remember that you need the Astrometry Net API key to do that. And then appears the regular image solver. Also here, nothing to do, just press OK. Next, we want to do a little bit nice pre-treatment for our stars. For that, we get Blur Exterminator. We click on Correct Only and throw it on there. That's done. Next comes SPCC. We just leave everything as it is, just throw it on there. And that looks good. So let's close it. Auto stretch again. And that is done. Next comes BXT. We take the correct only away. So you see here the stars are rather big. We do not want to have them that big. So we go perhaps with a 60 sharpened stars. Also a little bit the halos away. I will go with around an 80 sharpened non-stellar. So we do not risk any artifacts. And throw it on there. And that looks much better. Next comes Noise Exterminator. And again, for people who say, now, well, you showed us just Prism Deep some weeks ago and you said it's better. Yes, Prism Deep is better for nebulas. For stuff like that, it's absolutely unusable presently. It leaves a lot of artifacts. So forget Prism Deep. When it's about small objects, when it's about galaxies, it doesn't work. But, again, that's at its beginning. And I'm sure with the next version or so, this will change. But at the moment, we're still fully relying on Noise Exterminator. When it comes to that, I will go really high here, 0.9 or so, because there's still a lot of noise. If you just at the moment, it's perhaps 4 hours integration time or so, that's just not good enough that it will get rid of the noise. Okay, and that looks really nice. Next thing, we have to remove the stars. So SXT, remember to select Generate Star Image. We need the stars. And here we go. The stars look good. And this here looks good too. There's a few little residuals, but that doesn't matter. So now we have to stretch it. So for the stars, there is really actually only one good tool to stretch it, which is SETI Astro Star Stretch. It's just a blessing, really. I mean, Frank has here practically the monopoly. There is no other dedicated star stretch tool, and it does it so reliably. So with the stretch amount, I go to about a 5.5 to 6. With the color boost, I go to about a 1.3 because I really want to get a nice star color. It's much more important here with galaxies because it's not like the whole background is actually occupied with nebulosity or so. So having nice colorful stars really makes the picture more beautiful. We can also select Show Preview. We just see that the background is not too bright, but that looks good. I go and execute, and these are the stars. Now we could leave it like that because actually it looks quite good. But if we want to see if we can get a little bit more out of it, we can always go now to generalized hyperbolic stretch. So let's get a preview. With stars, we leave the symmetry point always at 0. Important is protect highlights. We move that all the way down, that we don't blow out the stars. Then we start to increase the stretch factor a little bit. We increase a little bit the local intensity. And now you see you can actually get a little bit more stars, and you pay it with a little bit more halos, but these halos can also be attractive. That depends what you want. So we can use that. And with that, our stars are perfect. We go now to the galaxy. And my go-to tool presently is MAS because the life stretch is really a lifesaver. That's how it looks like now. So the first thing we have to do, we go down with target background. Looks already much better. So now we incrementally go a little bit up with the target background so that the picture doesn't get too bright, but we get it nice. Now we try the aggressiveness. And with the dynamic range compression, we have to be careful that we actually do not have a too blown out core, but on the other side, we have a nice structure. So if we go too high, everything gets kind of blurry and foggy. And if we go on the other side too high, everything here is blown out. We have to find a nice balance here. The contrast recovery, we can also go a little bit down actually, it looks nicer. Color saturation really makes a huge difference. You see, it's practically black and white, and that's what you would have if you would, for example, stretch it with generalized hyperbolic stretches from the start. It's just a colorless white galaxy, and with the saturation we really get the nice yellow in the middle. We get the pink from the HA regions out of it, so that's really amazing. And that's the same trait as you would have seen in Veralux, but it's here in a much more controlled fashion. And I think that looks good. So now also here you could actually try with GHS to make it even better. I tried it, I could not see any improvement, so I just leave it like that. And so all what I do now is I go to Script, Utilities, and I choose from Mr. Adam Block Image Blend, which I feel is really by far the best tool to blend images. So we take image 1 here, we take the stars here, and now here with opacity, I can go from full-blown stars to a little bit muted stars. And personally, I really like here the stars practically at full max, but that's a question of taste. And when we feel the mix is good, click the green hook. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have our picture. That took me now about half an hour, and I'm at this stage. Now what I usually do with that, I export it as a TIFF, go to Luminar Neo, and then do a little bit the post-processing there. You could also use Photoshop or whatever else for post-processing that you use. But this is a very sound basis done in a very short time, and that's what I mean. And that's rinse and repeat. It really works universally for all of these galaxies. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, and you get something quite decent. Even all the HA regions are nicely visible actually in here. We can zoom in and we nicely see that. So I hope this was helpful. Try it out with the next galaxy that you're choosing. There's anyway at the moment nothing else to shoot. And so, clear skies, and see you next time.